Now to stunning new developments in the war in Ukraine. Yesterday, Russia announced its forces would withdraw from the southern city of Kherson and the surrounding area. Kherson was the only regional capital Moscow had secured since invading Ukraine. Here's President Biden reacting to the news yesterday.
It's evidence of the fact that they have some real problems, the Russian military, number one. Number two, whether or not that leads to, at a minimum, it will lead to time for everyone to recalibrate their positions over the winter period. And it remains to be seen whether or not there will be a judgment made as to whether or not Ukraine is prepared to compromise with Russia.
NBC News foreign correspondent Molly Hunter joins us now from Kyiv. Hey, Molly, good to see you. So walk us through this announcement by Russian officials. Why did they say they're doing this? And just how much of a setback is it?
Yeah, Savannah, and Russian officials have been signaling this for the last couple of weeks. They have been moving civilians, tens of thousands of civilians out of the area. They've been calling it safe evacuations. Kyiv has been calling it forced deportations. But yesterday, the Russian defense minister got on TV and said they are evacuating, they are retreating all of their military forces to the east bank of the Dnipro River. Now, the Dnipro River cuts that Kherson southern region in half. As we've talked about, Savannah, that whole region is extremely strategic for Russia. It provides a land bridge from occupied Crimea, really around to the southeast to mainland Russia. Now, that river right now is no man's land. Russia, has seen big blows like this before. Over the summer, they pulled back and Ukrainian forces pushed them back from the eastern city of Kharkiv. And of course, we remember in March and April when Ukrainian forces were able to push them out from around the capital. But this would be huge if it happens.
And Molly, what's the reaction been like from Ukrainian officials?
A lot of skepticism. So I think this is where kind of in the next couple of days we will see what is actually happening. Now, Ukraine's military says this morning, Savannah, that the Ukrainian military is really pushing towards the city. They have recaptured 12 settlements in the south. What they say they don't know, though, is how fast Russia is actually retreating, how many of those 40,000 soldiers that Moscow sent into Kherson have actually left, and really have they left any kind of reserves in this city. Now, I just want to show you a couple of tweets from presidential advisor Mikhailo Podolak, who tweeted out, "Actions speak louder than words. We see no signs that Russia is leaving Kherson without a fight." He then continued this morning. He said Russian forces want to turn Kherson into a city of death. He continued to say, this is what the Russian world looks like. They came, robbed, celebrated, killed witnesses, and left in ruins. Now, the Ukrainian Operational Command of the South, Savannah, the military operation down near Kherson, says right now there is a military operation underway which requires an information blackout. So what's actually happening in that area, we may not know for a couple of days.
Oh, wow. Molly, also, I want to ask you about some exclusive reporting by NBC News. Could potentially be some good news here. Western officials see this coming winter as a possible window for diplomacy. Is anything being done behind the scenes to push this? And also, obviously, this retreat is big news. Could this provide an opportunity for negotiations?
Right. Clearly, there are a lot of back-channel discussions, Savannah, that we may not be aware of. But I do want to highlight Courtney Kube, Carol Lee, and Josh Letterman, our colleagues in Washington, their reporting, which says that some U.S. and Western officials increasingly believe that neither side can achieve all of their goals in the Ukraine war this winter. And they talk about this slowdown of fighting as a possible window for diplomacy. One official with direct knowledge of military operations who spoke on anonymity told our colleague Savannah, in the winter, everything slows down. The potential for talks, we would like to see that happening. Now, U.S. officials have repeatedly said publicly that they are not back channeling and talking to Russia about Ukraine without Ukraine. The U.S. UN ambassador, Linda Thomas Greenfield, was actually in Kyiv earlier this week, a very high-level visit. I asked her what kind of pressure they're putting on Ukrainian officials to get to the table, and she said that is absolutely Ukraine's decision, which is what they'll continue to say, but we'll be watching closely.
All right, Molly Hunter, stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.